Hello and welcome back to Kelman Explores. Today I'm talking all about the Celebrity Summit and our 14-day Panama transit cruise. Yes, we did go all the way through the Panama Canal. And forgive me for not being in the studio today, but we had a lot to get done this week. I'm having to make this video on the go and we'll edit it later in the studios. Now, before I get too far into it, I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible. And let me remind you, this is just my opinion, my experience, my critiques or great things about my experience on the ship during the time I was on it. To address some things, I will try to not zoom in on my face as much, but let me give you a few of them here and there, okay? I just like to do it. Some people said, one person in particular, that anyway, it's not my best trait, but whatever. You're not here to look at my face. You're here to hear me and see my expressions and look at my face. And also there's another slight critique about just being on me for 90% of the time and not the ship. But this is again my review, so I want you to get the sense of what I'm feeling when I'm talking about it. So instead of 90%, I will do 89% this video just for you. Okay, so let's start. Celebrity Summit. Celebrity Summit is a ship in the Millennium-class with Celebrity. So the oldest class on with Celebrity. It's one of their older ships in the fleet, but it's a newer version in the Millennium-class. I think it's from 2001, 2002. So it's about 23 years old. Let me tell you, it's been revolutionized, revitalized, whatever you call it. I think revolutionized. Celebrity does a great job at keeping up with their ships, especially in my opinion the staterooms. Some ships, I was just on the Celebrity Reflection, their staterooms I don't think are as nice as the ones on Celebrity Summit, which is actually an older ship by like 10 years, but it was recently revolutionized in 2019. So the staterooms, ours in particular, were very nice. I will say some aspects weren't as nice, like it was missing a handle on an exterior handle on the balcony door, which made it a little difficult to open, especially when you had to use your fingertips and such a small, and you know, I don't have big hands, but I have fat hands, so that didn't help. And the balcony door was not smooth like butter, but again, it's almost 24 years old, and there's aspects of the door that were kind of rusted or eroded away. They were maintaining it well, like it was painted and sealed, but it could definitely be replaced. Overall, though, I think our rooms in particular and many aspects of the ships, like the main focal areas, like the dining room, the theater, a lot of the shopping areas on deck 5, very nicely renovated. So overall, I'm gonna give, I guess I kind of did stateroom and room together and ship together, but ship appearance, if I had to pick out of 10, I would give it a 7 out of 10, just to be, you know, you could see some parts needed help, like in all ships that age, mainly the exterior part. So like on the upper deck, it's kind of a forgotten area of the rooftop. On the newer ships, on the Edge class and on the Solstice class, they're more accessible for all people. This is only accessible via steps or one lift for people who need it, and it was broken at the time. So not many people went up there, especially in our sailing. The demographic was a lot older because it's such a niche sailing, 14 days, Panama, plus you had to have airfare coming back even if you live in Florida, because we started in Miami and ended in Long Beach, California. So that was about 5,000 miles of travel. It really did kind of throttle the amount of different demographics we were going to have on board. It was pretty much retired or nearly retired was pretty much the vibe I was getting. We weren't really there, obviously, well, maybe close, but we're not really that demographic. We felt very young on that cruise. But overall, I think the cruise ship, I still will stick with that being a 7 out of 10 for appearance. Let's go to stateroom. I kind of already said our stateroom was very nice, way nicer than I expected it to be. When we walked to it, the door was very much kind of still over 20 years old. I could tell like the hallways were a little bit, still not a bad color compared to other ships around the equivalent age on other brands. But when we opened the door, boom, very nice fascia, laminate or cover, you know, color scheme, very updated, very modern color scheme, very, you know, grays and a little bit of hints of like purple, very light purple, you know, whatever, very modern looking, very comfortable. I felt the bed was comfortable. It was our bed for 2 weeks. Very nice office area or makeup, whatever. The bathroom was very nice, albeit kind of small for Celebrity, but this is an older ship. And our stateroom was in fact smaller than I think any other celebrity ship we've been on, but it was really well appointed and they made good use of the space. There was good storage, even though there was only one technical wardrobe for your clothes, but there was a nice little annex part next to it with like almost like a wet bar or a dry bar area with glass door cabinets. We had a chiller down there, not really a fridge, but a mini bar chiller, and plenty of storage in addition to the hanging. And the bathroom, as I said, was small, but the shower was very spacious. The shower door was a little bit strange, the way it hinged in. It was nice for space in the room, but it was hard for somebody of my size to kind of get in and then close the door without the water not being running or getting wet or letting the door touch you. And the doors are cold, the glass. Bathroom, even though, like I said, it was small, I said this again now, it was very nice, very maintained. There was no issues, no leaks, no smells. I think if I had to fault stuff in the room, it would be some of the antiquated or the not used electrical devices or components, such as the volume control for the overhead speaker, which is not on unless it's an emergency or a very important message, and the volume doesn't do anything. We couldn't increase it when we were going through the Panama Canal. To hear it, we had to crack the door open or lean outside over the balcony, and we can kind of hear it echoing. I was outside all day on the balcony anyway recording, so it's not such a big deal. And a lot of the electrical outlets probably were also bad. There was one near the bed on a lampshade on Brittany's side, or the one side, which that you could tell was put in during the refurb, because it's just basically a plug that turns into a lamp and another plug, which is nice. It's right by the bed, which is nice. And they had a plug and a European outlet up by the workstation area, but the USBs that they put in 2019 are already messed up, but they were kind of chewed up, and one of them worked off and on. But we had a workaround. We used the two outlets that were there, the US outlets, but we brought our adapters, and our adapters have USBs built into them, or European adapters or whatever. And that's another quick little tip there. Always bring an adapter even if you aren't traveling really internationally. Let's go to staff. Overall, I will say the staff was good. They weren't as good as the Beyond, though, in my opinion. We did get to spend a lot of time with them. 14 days. That was the longest cruise we've ever taken to date. And we got to develop some relationships with some people, but I think they're also used to very, how shall I put this delicately, maybe more needy clientele. We aren't very needy cruisers. Even though in 14 days, we don't have very specific wants or needs that we need daily, like blah, blah, blah. Well, I need this here. I must have this when I eat, or can I sit here because of I have this going on. And I think they were dealing with a lot of that. They just kind of at some points felt kind of like, oh, you just want to know a yes or no answer. I'm sorry. Okay. But they would wake up from it and then be there with us in present time and not be like, oh, another person complaining about something. Because after 14 days, if you're bored, I think some people just start complaining. I don't know if that's true, but that's just my thought on some of the process. There was a few people I would see on the ship complaining in certain areas in the food. And one person in particular, you may even, I'm not going to point them out ever, but you may catch glimpses of them in any of my videos, because they were always by the food, and we were also always by the food. But anyway, I will say the staff was very nice. Never any issues with the staff. I think they were just tired. You know, when you have to be on for 14 days, even though you probably get breaks, I'm sure, within those days, it's a lot. Here comes Mr. Smith again. Oh my gosh, he's going to talk to me about, you know, he knows someone who's from my country, or he was stationed in my country, and oh my God. I'm not saying they're thinking that or saying that, but I would be if it was me. If the shoe was on my foot, I would be like, oh, put on the smile. And it's a lot to be on for 14 days. And they did very well. I just felt like they were kind of tired, or maybe not that energetic about a lot of things, but that's not a big issue. That's like, you know, I can't maybe deduct a point from them. And overall, the entertainment staff was very entertaining. You had Rockstar, which I think that's his name. Also a Taylor Swift hound. What the hell is that? A Taylor Swift fan, a Swiftie himself. And we were on the ship during the release of her new album, the Poet Society thing, whatever that one is. Oh my gosh. Anyway, y'all don't attack me. And him and my wife bonded over that, and they were like discussing their favorite songs so far. So he was very engaging, and he was part of the activities team, which makes sense. That's kind of like a prerequisite to get that position, is to be somewhat engaging and outgoing. Very much so. And he always was very welcoming. He was just a very good force on their team. Everybody else, I don't really remember. Even the cruise director, I remember Rick. Very also cool. I don't remember the other people's names, and I'm so sorry It's been a while, and I should have wrote everything down. Overall, I give the staff, because we didn't have any issues. The security team was awesome. They were very nice. As always, celebrity security is like pleasant, very nice so far. And I would just give them 1 mark minus, so 9 out of 10. Staff was great. They weren't like super 100% like the Celebrity Beyond staff recently. If I had to compare, that's my new standard. But they were definitely worth every penny I paid, and I don't want to complain about it. I had to nudge them down because they weren't perfect, but neither am I. Nobody else is. Just Celebrity Beyond, their crew during the time frame we were on there. Go on to entertainment. I will say this is probably going to be my lowest mark of this cruise, was entertainment. Now, I say that by saying this. Also, the demographic was different. So, you got to think, you got to please the average person on your ship. The cruise director, whoever picked the people, the team who picked them, they did right, because overall, I would say the consensus was it was good entertainment. I was just bored a few times. We've watched some of the things, some of the game shows, very much like PG-13 kind of humor. But we did see some of the adult comedies, and they were really good. We saw one guy, I don't remember his name. He was good. He said he's probably going to be canned after this. We saw a lot of. There was actually some good women, one-woman show kind of performers. Some of them were on Broadway. Some of them have worked in the movie, TV industry, making jingles, making music, writing songs, and even has music of her own, but I don't remember her name. She was actually very entertaining, and I don't think I would have ever watched her had it not been in that scenario. I wouldn't have seen her like here in a concert hall and been like, let's go see this person. She played all kinds of hits, even her own things that I've never heard, her own music that she's written. And very awesome, energetic person, got the crowd on their feet, worked with the band. Live band music is like, there's nothing like a great band playing all types of music. And that was actually a really good show. But as far as their production shows, that's where I found a little bit of the lacking. And I think because it's an older ship, theater is a little older compared to the rest of the Celebrity fleet. So I think they had to work with what they had. So their theater is a little antiquated, but maybe the technology is, but the theater itself was still beautiful. But the technology, I think, is a little bit outmoded, as well as maybe the shows, and maybe they're waiting till the next dry dock and they're going to retrofit or include certain equipment and aspects that will allow for these better productions to come on board. I don't even remember what we saw. We saw a couple of them. It just wasn't, it was kind of like how I felt 10 years ago when I first walked onto a cruise ship with Carnival and saw their shows. It was just like, whatever. It was good. It was okay. It wasn't bad. It was, would I go again? No. Some shows I go to on Celebrity and other brands, I would go again and watch it because it was awesome. Good singing. The singing was okay. I won't say it was bad, but we basically, I don't know. It just wasn't my best entertainment experience. Now, of course, we did watch some of the Beyond the Podium series, which, because this was such an informational or historical kind of sailing going through the Panama Canal, there's a lot of stuff in line with that. So a lot of educational stuff about Panama, time frames, history of the US, and different things that happened in the area. Also things about all our ports of call: Cartagena, Colombia; Colón, Panama; Puerto Vallarta, Mexico; Punta Arenas, Costa Rica. Found out I've been saying it wrong. I've been saying Punta Arenas, but it's just Punta Arenas. Punta Arenas. Sand Point, I believe, is what it just translates to. Very educational things, but somewhat very long-winded. We also learned about the Russian satellite Sputnik, which is interesting, but, I would never we didn't sit through the whole thing. I just watched probably 20 minutes of it. It was kind of entertaining, but it was just something, it wasn't for me. So I think they did hit the marks with, if you interviewed somebody a little older than me, maybe 15, 20 years older than me, they would have said, oh, it was great. Great entertainment. I just think I'm a little bit too young for the type of entertainment they were selling, but I get it. I was the minority on that ship. So I'm going to give it about a 7 out of 10 if I had to pick the entertainment, the activities. The activities themselves weren't bad, but there were less budget in them versus on the other ships we've been on with Celebrity, which have all been newer. So the budget for the activities was a little bit lacking. The watercolor supplies, we did watercolor, but they were very it wasn't like a cool kind of thing. In a way, they were fine, but it just, I don't know, it seemed a little chintzy. It was entertaining, but it was just 20 minutes of time. We didn't really kill much. As far as the safe arrow was different. It was real bulky, and it was balls floating on air versus actually targets you hit. So it's just different technology all around for the different things we've tried on different ships with Celebrity. I just think that the older ships get the older tech. It's just kind of what happens. So overall, again, it was just not as entertaining or activity wise. It wasn't as fun as the past experiences we've had on Celebrity for me. So that's why I'm doing it a 7 out of 10 for entertainment / activities. Let's go to food, the all-important food, which I will say, after 14 days, I think I did get a little bored of the food in the buffet. I started going to every meal in the dining room just because, you know, I could kind of have their input, some idea. But the buffet started all kind of looking alike. The days kind of blended, like they would call it something else, but it was pretty much the same type of food every night. No big deal. They always had great Indian food, if that's your thing. Celebrity does a really good buffet, I will say that, but their newer ships have much more variety. The stuff they did have was very good. It was cooked good, flavored. They had very nice chef recommendation special of the night. One of my favorite was chicken wings, and then they had the hot pot, so like a broth bowl one night, or actually a couple nights. And that's the thing, is when you're on a 2-week itinerary, you repeat yourself after a while, maybe 2 or 3 times. So don't worry if you miss out on the hot pot, because it's coming back. It's coming back, believe me. So kind of just think about it, plan it. If you're doing such a long sailing, probably on any brand. I did just get tired of the food. I was ready for something different, and the dining room kind of gave you that difference, at least with the menu. It was something visually you could look at and be like, okay, tonight I don't want that one, this is new, I want to try this one. And then what's good about it too is because it repeats itself. If it's something you like, you can get it again. We did eat specialty dining. We went to Tuscan Grill twice, and then we went to Le Petit or La Petite Chef once, but we were disappointed with the La Petite Chef because I had thought we were going to get lobster and another, like I think beef Wellington on that night, but we missed it. It was our fault. We thought it was their fault, and other people did too, but it was the other night. But after we ate that, we went to dinner because that's the night they actually did have lobster and beef Wellington in the dining room. So we went there and got it then and ate again. I will say that on such a long sailing, La Petite Chef will have 3 different menus minimum, maybe even more. One menu we already tried on the Ascent. We decided to try the one that had lobster because it was supposed to be their best one, and of course we missed that. But we ended up getting the lobster and the beef Wellington, so we were okay with that. But overall, I will say their Tuscan Grill was good, but I think we also got bored with that, having ate it twice. Portions are huge there, and you can order whatever you want, as many entrees, which I guess someone corrected me once on my live that you can do that on any ship, but I don't think you can. I know with Tuscan Grill you can, but I don't think you can do that on Eden. Can I have 3 crab cakes? I'm gonna try that if so next time. But the food again was always good. If it wasn't good, they corrected it, which I don't think we had anything we had to correct. I do recommend the food on Celebrity. Some people say it's overrated when I've mentioned it, but so far I think it's been the best food experience, even after 14 days straight of the similar or same kind of stuff. It wasn't to the point where I'm like, oh, I can't eat this anymore. It was just like I was ready for variety at that point. Luckily, when we got into ports, because the ports were actually very small, like we only had I think 4 technical ports on 14 days. We had a Panama transit that you can consider that like a port day almost, because you're almost touching land, but you don't get off the ship. You are going through 40 miles of a country, but so really 5 days kind of where you see land. So we got 4 days where we did try local flavors, local food, and that kind of helped break things up, at least with the getting bored of the buffet type food. And that's just my opinion. After 14 days straight, it was it was blurring. It was very like, isn't this what I ate yesterday? They did surprise us though here and there. I think I'm going to give the food on this one like an 8 out of 10, just because I personally was just kind of done with it after probably about 10 days. The breakfast, you can't mess with breakfast, so breakfast was always a good treat, but I think everything started looking the same in the buffet, especially. Everything just looked like a saucy meat, so it didn't get dry, and then you had your sides around it like potatoes or rice, which I guess that's all there is out there. Then there's Indian and whatnot, but other than that, the food is good. It was just kind of getting boring, to be honest, and I think that would have happened to me on any cruise brand, so I hate to do that, but I'm gonna say 8 out of 10 for the food. And I think I hit everything. I did the ship, the room, the staff, the entertainment, and the food. Always the most important. Well, let's just say overall, I think I'm gonna rank this sailing probably an 8 out of 10. And it's just, I think because I actually kind of got bored, I will say that after 14 days straight. It's nothing wrong with the ship. I just kind of was done with it. You know, I was ready to get off, and then because we got off in Long Beach, and then we spent 2 days in Disney, then we got on a Royal Caribbean Navigator of the Seas. But a lot of parts of that ship made me miss the Celebrity Summit. So overall, I would do Celebrity Summit again, definitely. The crew were good. Everything was amazing. I just wouldn't do it for that long of time. There's not a lot of physical things maybe to do on that ship. There's a good, pretty decent jogging track, walking track. There's pools, jacuzzis, the gym and all that stuff. But it just wasn't that big. It felt big, but it wasn't a big ship, or it's not a big ship. So after, you know, many days at sea, I think we had stretches of up to 3 days sometimes at a time, and then 2 days, 1 port day, 2 days. It just kind of got a lot. But would I do it again? Yes, because it was for the Panama Canal and all those ports we've never been to. We've been to Puerto Vallarta once. So actually, on this sailing, that's where we almost missed the ship. So yeah, you can see that if you go to that sailing there. I would do it again. It just wasn't and I think I just got kind of in my own head about a lot of things. Like, oh, it almost felt like a normal life. It didn't feel like a vacation at a certain point. It felt like this is our life. We wake up, go to work, walk around, look for food, whatever, you know. It just kind of felt like that routine, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I like to change stuff up, especially on vacation. I'm anxiously looking forward to next year when we do our 29-day cruise. That's going to be interesting to see how I combat that. And I'm thinking what I'm going to have to do is do a lot of relaxing, sleeping. Let's just sleep for today. Let's go lounge out by the pool tomorrow. Let's really plan it out. Read a book. I need to get a book for that one for sure. If I don't finish a book in 29 days, please write Congress and tell them to help me. I think that's it, guys. I can't think of anything else to add. Let me know down below what you think in the comments if you've tried Celebrity Summit or a Panama cruise, and is it something you would do again? I am very weary of doing it again, the Panama Canal cruise. Not to spoil it, it's definitely something you need to do, but it's very much not at all how I expected it. It's a much slower process. It took about 9 hours for us to go from the Atlantic side to the Pacific side, and I honestly didn't take any breaks, and I think that's why I was live streaming for whatever I could of it, and then I lost signal, went and had lunch, but was still looking outside at Lake Gatun, which is also very awesome to realize this cruise ship is in fresh water, and it's like rolling almost like when you paddle, how it would feel. That's how it felt. Very strange feeling though, but also very unique and something you need to experience. Very strange to picture we went through a country. That is definitely worth the boredom, the monotony that pops up. And I think I handled that better than a lot of people. I still wasn't like, I gotta get off the ship. I wasn't ever the first person off or anything. It's just something to think about and be mindful of. It's definitely worth it for me. What did you think about it, and would you do it again? I would have to give me some time. I need probably another year before I would ever do it again. It would probably have to be maybe some different ports, or maybe faster if it's possible, like a 10-day, 11-day or something. I think 10 days is my new favorite length, because that was our Celebrity Beyond, and it was a perfect balance because you really get a full week in between travel days. That's how I look at it. So you really get that full 7 days of unadulterated cruising. You have your travel days too, embarkation day, you're done with the cruise, and then you have your travel. The last day doesn't really count. To me, the last day and the first day don't count. So a 9-10 day is like the new 7 day for me. Thank you, and that's pretty much it. I hope this does not scare you away from the Panama Canal. This is just my thoughts on it, and it's definitely still worth it. Just make sure you have something to keep your mind busy. I was editing and I was tired. I would sleep, but also there was a lot of wildlife. We never saw whales. She did from far away, but we couldn't capture it. She saw it on like the zoom of the phone. Not really the whale, but the water spraying out. And we saw Pacific white-sided dolphins, pods of them, hundreds of them. So that's something to look forward to. We saw some sunfish, sea turtles. There is a lot of wildlife in the Pacific, especially, it seems like, once you get over there. And the weather cools off quite drastically once you get north of Costa Rica, in the evenings especially, so you get that California climate. Something to think of, whereas on the Atlantic side, we were like hot all night, all day outside. But that's it for me. Comment again down below if you would do it again, and if you've ever done it, and what did you think about the Panama Canal. And thank you again for watching. Have a great evening, and bye-bye.